Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Corolla. Now, as we know from part 1, we had problems with the starter motor, battery, and we had problems with the drive shaft. We have the starter motor redone. What they've done is they've put a new strap on it. So just see there, nice new strap, and they've done the bushings inside it. So this is ready to go back on. So that's been reconditioned. We're getting a second-hand drive shaft because new ones are just too expensive, and the car isn't really worth it because it needs a few more things as well. So we're going to bang this on, put a new battery in it. It's important to get a new battery, and let's see if it starts and let's see if it drives. So we could still have other problems, I'm not sure yet. We know this had a problem, but is this completely our problem as regards it starting? I honestly don't know yet. So we're going to get back onto it. There is 2 bolts, 1 clip. There's going to be 2 bolts, 1 clip and 1 nut. Now I'm not going to be able to film it because there's just going to be no room, but as you can see we've got a top bolt and a bottom bolt. Very simple. You can't quite see it because it's right in between where the clutch cylinder goes and the right underneath the actual intake manifold. Unfortunately there's just no room, but it's very simple. It's just 2 bolts, a couple of connections. So I'm going to put that on. I have a battery here at the minute, which is it's not the proper one, but it'll do us for the minute. I haven't got the new one yet. It'll be coming here shortly. So I'm going to start it with that. It's not going to drive because again I haven't got the drive shaft here either, but at least we know, are we on the right track? Is it going to start? So I'm going to crack on. Let's see what happens. Hopefully this is coming through clear. As we can see, this is the starter motor, this is the bottom bolt, and the other bolt comes in from the other side of the gearbox, which you're not able to see, but again it's just where my finger is, just there. They're both 14mm bolts. Then we have a 12mm bolt for the actual main lead coming in, and then we just have the little clip which is here, and it's nestled between, you could say, just above the oil filter and beside the clutch slave cylinder. So it's easy enough to get to, but there's just no room, so I'll struggle to film it. But there it is, it's on. So let's hope that this is now going to work. Right, so like I said, this isn't the battery I'm going to use permanently, but this is going to hopefully, I must check the voltage again, but I'm sure it's going to do what we need to do for the minute. What I like to do before I actually properly put the battery on, just in case maybe something's got to move, maybe you've accidentally put something on wrong, or you know, loads of things could have happened. I just like to tap that off the battery. Now if your ignition's on, you will get a bit of a spark, that's not a problem, but what you don't want is big huge sparks, as if something's earthing itself out somewhere. That's what you don't want. So we're not getting that, so I'm safe enough to put this on. Now I'm listening to that. I don't know if that's coming through, but it sounds like my ignition is on in the car. And yes, the ignition was on in the car, so I've just turned it off. Now, 10mm. Now let's see if this starts or not. Fingers crossed. I hope it does, because if this doesn't start, we've got a wiring problem somewhere, and that can be a nightmare. Sorted! So we have the starting problem now sorted. It's just the drive shaft now. It was unusual for both these to go at once, because literally, he said he just literally parked up at home and bang, came out nothing. So they literally both went at the same time, which is very unusual, but hey, these things happen. Right, so I'm going to now have to wait till I get the battery and wait till I get the half shaft, drive shaft even. And then we can put that on and hopefully it will be driving and then it's done. Another job done. Hot it. So as you can see, I've got a brand new battery in it, the correct battery this time. And I just want to check the alternator just to make sure, even though there wasn't a problem with the alternator, but it's just nice to know. I had the lights turned on full beam. And when I test it, we're getting 13.8, 13.7 volts, which is fine. When I turn the lights off, we're up at 14. So we know that it's charging, we know it's starting. Good battery in it now, so we're going to do the drive shaft next. So, I've took the wheel off and we've had one of the wheel studs break on us. Not a big deal, but annoying. So there's obviously a lot of kind of rust on this car. But anyway, so as you can see, this is one end of the drive shaft and the other end, just off camera, you might be able to know. But anyway, so we're split in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the 32mm bolt that holds the CV joint on. Then we're going to take off the 2 bolts that hold the shock to the actual hub, and that will allow us to put the new drive shaft in. Now there is a little on these bolts, you just get a little hammer or a chisel and you just bend in the piece of metal. It acts as like a lock, like Loctite almost. But with a powerful air gun, you should be okay and just whip it off. Now, this is the little collar that goes around that little collar, and that's what you bend in to the little groove that's in the CV joint. Now this will come out, I hope. Alright, we're still stuck. Right, it's stuck on the wishbone, but that's not a big deal because we need to take off the 2 bolts, which are, you can see them, we've got 2 bolts which hold the actual spring / shock onto the actual hub. So we need to take them off now. So I've taken off the 2 bolts, 2 nuts and bolts, they're both 19mm. And once you disconnect them, as you can see, we've now completely disconnected from the actual hub. We have to be careful now of the ABS wire because obviously we're putting strain on it, and also the brake wire. So we have to be careful we don't break anything here. The easiest thing to do is just to undo this. It's a 13mm bolt which will release, as you can see that, but I've just taken off the bolt which holds the brake line and the ABS wire here. It just gives me a bit more room so I don't pull anything out, because you can easily snap that ABS wire and then you need to buy more things. So what we should hopefully be able to do now is remove that. Now, just gonna have to, as you can see, this is one end of the drive shaft. The other end now is stuck in the gearbox. What I want to do is I want to just hold that because I don't want to put too much pressure on that. Now, put a cable tie in here just to hold this for me out of my way. Now, this is my new drive shaft, or second-hand drive shaft, but new for the car. So this is the cup that goes inside the gearbox, and there's 3 bearings inside here. Now this is all pre-sealed and pre-greased. You can disconnect it here and leave the cup in, but the problem is if that cup is anyways damaged or worn or anything, you're just going to do more damage. There is a chance that if the bearings are gone in that cup, that's what could have caused this to go. Now I do believe the main problem is water sticks in this little rubber here, and as you can see it goes rusty, and that's what happens. I'm going to replace the whole thing because I've got it here. Now, you do have to be careful, because once you pull out this cup, you're going to be losing your gearbox oil. So you've got a couple of ways. You either drain your gearbox oil first and then refill it, or you try, which I'm going to do now, just be lazy, might not work, but pop that cup out and quickly put this one in without losing too much oil. Then if I do lose oil, I can just quickly top it up. That's my plan. I'm going to film it, if we can see, hopefully you can see here, yeah. So I'm going to film this, and this could go wrong or good. We'll soon find out. The first thing I'm going to do is just loosen this cup. Not take it out fully, but just get it. I'll say I'm going to do it, but again, this can go easy or be a bit of a nightmare. I've got a smaller bar. I've got a smaller bar. I'm just going to try and crack the actual little seal on it first without completely taking it out. As we can see, it's not working. It normally comes out quite quickly because I'm filming it. What's actually stopping us is just this little ring on the end. Now, this is now the problem I was telling about, and I've messed up. Typical. Absolutely typical. Nightmare. Shouldn't have filmed that. Don't do that. That normally doesn't happen. Anyway, at least you know. I should just drain the oil and stop being lazy. But hey ho, it could be worse. Just a little bit of gear oil, not a big deal. I know I'm going to get some comments on this now, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I've done it before like that, and I only lost a tiny bit of oil. But anyway, doesn't matter. Just need to line this up with the splines in here. Just re-put the bolt on. Anyway, just putting this bolt on now, just a couple of threads, just to help me. Now, I can put the two bolts back in here. Come on. Fuck's sake, what is going on here now? Nah, fucking thing. Typical. There's one, and two. So, they are now back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten everything now and then turn the camera back on. So I'm going to tighten the 32mm bolt here. I'm going to tighten the two 19mm nuts and bolts up here, and then we're more or less ready to put some oil in and try and see if it dries. It's just been one of them days. Anyway, Right, so I've tightened the two 90mm bolts up here. I've tightened this 32mm bolt here. Now what you need to do is when you do that, just get something and just hit that down again on the little flange there into the little groove of the CV joint. And that just acts as a lock nut, stops it from coming loose. Now, this car does need a few other little bits, so it needs brakes. So once we do the brakes, we'll do the wheel stud as well. So all I've got to basically do now is put a bit more oil in. I've lost just over half a litre, I'd say. So I'm going to shove a little bit more oil in, put the tyre on, and we'll see then exactly where we are with this and see if it actually drives. So I'll turn the camera back on. All I've got to do is literally put on the wheel, put a bit of gearbox oil in, and then I'll turn the camera back on and we'll see what the story is as regards the driving of it. So let's hope we're sorted. It's simple enough really, drive shaft. So what have we learned? To drain the oil first, not to do it like that, because, well, I say that, but I have done them before and I've only lost, well, a tiny bit of oil. You will lose a little bit of oil, but it's not as much as that. But anyway, so look, I'm going to now put in oil, put it down, put the wheel on, and see if it drives. Right, so as you can see, I've got a slightly different unit to what I normally fill the gearboxes with. This just works on a little pump rather than an electric pump. A 24mm bolt, which is to fill it, and then you've got a 24mm bolt down here, which you just can't quite see, but it's just down here. Where's my hand? Just down there to drain it. But obviously we've already drained it. Yes. So I'm just going to pump this and just refill the oil. Now, we're dripping out, so we know we now have enough. I'm just going to let that come out. Here we've got a tiny bit too much in there, but let that drain out. It's important, you don't want too much oil in your gearbox, you don't want too much oil in your engine. You know, even at that, it is important. I'd say I lost just over half a litre. Just let that drain out. So let that drain out, put the bolt back on, put the wheel back on, and then we'll turn the camera on. But that's how you fill these. EP90 as well as the gearbox oil that goes in these. Right, so I've got all that on. I've got the car still on the lift with the wheels just a couple of inches off the ground. I just want to make sure that this is going into gear, it's not making any funny noises before I kind of take it out on the road. Now we know we start, so let's hope we start again. Right, so we started again. Now, first gear, let's see what happens. Right, well we have drive. We can see the speedo and the revs going up. See that? Camera is focusing in and out for some reason. Yeah. Now I can take it on the road because now I know it is driving. But what I also like to do is just put it in gear. So I'm in second gear now. It's doing 10 mile an hour. I'm going to hop out the car. And lucky enough, the passenger wheel is spinning, which we need it to, because I'm going to check underneath to make sure it's not leaking from the gearbox end. And as we can see, there's no leaks, which is good. Here is the old half shaft, drive shaft, even. Lovely. So, look. Hope it helps. Thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.